Kwekwe, Heidi Jobson, Ndishnikaz, Halabury and Dunjaba, Jishigwe and Dodum. Hello, everyone. Miigwech for taking the time and joining us tonight for this language lesson. My name is Heidi Jobson. I'm the Communications Officer for Temagami First Nation. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and it will be available on the website under the Language Commission tab at temagamifirstnation.ca. If you wish to not have your image shared in the recordings or photos, please let me know in the chat, or you can email me at communication@temagamifirstnation.ca. There'll be opportunities to interact and practice the language. When you wish to speak, you can use the raise hand option that's in the reactions tab usually along the bottom of your screen. And Patsy will call on you to unmute yourself so you can be heard. Make sure that you're muted when you're not speaking to the group. And also feel free to use the chat function for questions and comments. If you're calling, we don't have any callers yet, but *9 will raise your hand and *6 can be used for mute and unmute. Patsy, Majitan, would you like to begin?
Kwekwe, kinawaya, miigwech, gibijayik, nangom debikan, and gitchmin wendam wabminak, Zoom. Kwekwe, everybody. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm happy to see all of you on Zoom. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention a little bit about the excuse me, everybody, the Temagami First Nation Commission, and I'm the chair of the commission, and we're bringing you these language classes that we've had a couple of them now. And I just wanted to mention that the commission was convened several years ago by a community vote, and the council was directed by the community to take up the task to revitalize and work on preserving Anishnaabemowin. With the newest council as of last July, our new members have been working since the fall on harmonizing Anishnaabemowin efforts for the TFN. But that's one part of what we do, which is not very out there and active. And so we also want to get out to community members and bring language and stir up language and keep language on the agenda in our daily lives. That's why we come to do this, these classes in the evenings here. So we're really trying to promote the value of Anishnaabemowin, and if you value language, then you use it. So that's kind of the message. Mary Cat several years ago helped me translate if you what was it? If you don't use it, you lose it, or use it or lose it. That's what it is. Objeton min jiu nito swan Anishnaabemowin. So if you use it or lose it, that's the message here. And if you value language, then it means you value it enough to be using it in your daily life. So that being said, if Heidi is kind enough to post Thanksgiving, we're going to start with a Thanksgiving. You can call it a prayer if you want. When I'm teaching at school, I don't usually call it a prayer. Sometimes the word prayer can turn off some parents or some people, and really it's an acknowledgement and just taking a minute or two in our day to acknowledge what's around us and all the natural stuff that provides us with what we need. This is a prayer that used to be shared by Bill Twain with many other people. Joanne Basho learned it from Bill, and she felt strongly and wanted John and I to learn it so that we could teach it to the students at the school, which we do every day pretty much when we are doing language at school. So I'm just going to share the prayer. You can follow along, and then you'll see at the bottom is pretty much a direct translation for the Anishnaabemowin. So you get a real sense of what each word is saying here. Chimiigwech gje minadu gauja tuch daki minan ke kina gegon ga ejnagog homa kim kan. Tigok, Zagihagen, Zebing, Gigonsak, Beneshisak, Wesayak, Gitigos, Mishkiki, Minidoshansak, Minawach, Anishnaabek. We Dokwiyang, Wewenid, Dashkitoyang, we Anishnaabemowin, Miigwech, Gi Mijayang, Iosabemowin. So when Joanne shared it with us, of course, I'm trying to touch it and scroll it up, but it's not on my device here. But when she said she couldn't remember the ending of the prayer, so John and we used another prayer that talked about similar things, but it ended with asking for help to learn the language and just thanks for living a good life. So we added in the last two lines that say, we dokwiyang wewenid dashkitoyang, we Anishnaabemowin, which is saying, help us carefully learn the Anishinaabe language. And then the bottom part is miigwech gi mijiyang iosabemowin, to give us, thank you for giving us a good life. So if there's any comments or questions about that before we move on, if not, we'll just move on. And that's something that I did record and have it ready to post on the TFN website with a little bit of technological difficulties. I'll work through with Heidi. We'll get that on there so people can check that out as they feel they want to in the future. So that being said, I am Gitchman Wendam. I'm happy to see all of you here. Before we start, let's start with some introductions. And I know I've met most of you, and I see Tracy here, who I know over the years from Komunising. So I'll start first, and then we'll go around and introduce ourselves and start by practicing some Anishnaabemowin. Kwekwe, Patsy, and Dijnakaz, Komunising Dunjaba, Migazin Dodem, Kinoma Gekwen Dao. So I said, Patsy's my name. I'm from Bear Island. My clan is Eagle. And then I just added a little part that I'm a teacher as well. And I teach here at the Laura Mackenzie Learning Center for the past 23 years. So we'll go on to Heidi if you wanted to. Oh, Heidi already introduced herself. I did that last week. So we'll go on. Tracy, Gintam.
All right, I'm going to try this out so you can correct me.
Yeah.
Majike kwe dijnakas nabane gwene dodem makomanising dunjaba Anishnaabe kwe enda.
Thumbs up. Miigwech. Okay, Caitlin, Gintam.
Kwekwe, Caitlin Morrison, Dijnakas, Toronto and Dunjaba, Mong and Dodam.
Miigwech. Sherry.
Kwekwe, Sherry Wabigan, Indigenous, New Brunswick, and Dunjaba, and Zishigwe, Ndoden.
Miigwech. Alin.
Okay, unmute. Hello. Okay.
Kwekwe, Alin.
Kwekwe. Alin Nadimsaka Miko Minisin Najo Nom Jamba
Yeah.
Megasi Nomdam.
Yeah.
Martin. Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Now, if you read that, you're saying Eagle Clan, and that's because it's my clan, and I wrote it in there. Did you want to say Eagle Clan, or did you want to say Martin Clan?
Yeah, Martin. Oh, I want to say Swan, but
okay.
You know the name.
Yeah, and we had talked last week, people who are usually don't know their clan or are not Anishinaabe, they often, if they're in a circle or a sweat or a ceremony, they often use Wabjishi and Dodem. Wabjishi and Dodem would be the Martin clan. So that's up to you if you wanted to include that with your introduction. So thank you, Alin. And who else do we have here? Robert.
Kwekwe, Robert, Indigenous, Barry and Dunjaba, Mang and Dotem.
Miigwech. Nice that you're here. Now, one thing too that I didn't mention, but I like to mention is that when we go to meetings or circles or ceremony or special situations, not every day when you go to Tim Hortons or walking around your office or your house, you're not going to give this introduction in those situations. But when you are at those special sessions, just a second there, Sherry, we'll get to you after this. It's a great idea to use your introduction to introduce yourself. And you know, it's something simple enough to practice and simple enough to use to do your introduction. So I just wanted to mention that to you. If we value the language, we use it. And that's one great way of using language at meetings or special circles or ceremonies. Sherry, Gintam?
Yeah, I was just wondering for clans, like, is it your like the mother's side or the father's side? Which one do you identify with? Is it typically mothers?
I think it may depend sometimes. And if somebody else has an answer to share, feel free. I don't have all the answers here, but for myself, I'm on my mother's side. So I'm using my mother's side for it. But you know, other people might have different answers for that. So
would it be appropriate if could you use both? Like, could you say both of your clans? Or
I've also seen that, like my husband, sometimes he'll say Hmong, which is loon, but then sometimes he'll say Atik, which is caribou, which is two different sides of his family. But then again, then he's Iroquois, you know, and then he's Eel clan on his mother's side. So yeah, that's a tricky one. So maybe you can decide what's best for you, and maybe, you know, if someone can give you a better answer in the future. But that's how I see my husband. He'll say Hmong, he'll say Atik, and then he'll say Eel, which is Iroquois. So
okay, great.
I hope that helps a little bit.
It does.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Excuse me now. Before we move on to what I planned for this evening, there are some of you that were here last week, and I just wanted to ask you not last week, it was 2 weeks ago, if you can think back, and before we get into today's, the rest of today's agenda, is there a word or a couple of words that you might remember from last week? Does anybody remember any of our words from last week that they could share? Excuse me, just to kind of do a little review, just to see if anybody, remembers any of that vocabulary before we get on to our new vocabulary. Caitlin.
Yeah, so I remember Nui Wisan
Uh-huh.
and Wei Sam Dan.
Good one. Okay, did you want to share what Nui Wisan means?
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Or I'm feeling hungry.
I want to eat. Yeah.
I want to eat. Yeah.
And Wei Sam Dan.
Like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy, it's an expression,
boy.
right? That it's just an expression. Thank you, Caitlin. So we'll move on. I tried to stay somewhat similar to what we did 2 weeks ago, but I also wanted to add some new vocabulary. But I kept the clans. And the reason I kept the clans is, if you see again behind me right here, is the Temiagama and Anishinaabe clans, and it's the flag. So, excuse me, on the flag are these clans that are listed here. And like when I'm in school and we're teaching, those are the clans we talk about. We talk about the flag and what it means to community and those sorts of things. So I like to include it in the lessons that I do. So the word clans is Dodemwak. Dodemwak is clans. But what I wrote here with the N at the beginning of it, Dodemwak, is I shouldn't have put the N. I'll have to erase the N because I'm saying my clans. Yeah, thanks, Heidi. So Dodemwak without the N is saying clans. So just to share that with you, just to say clan would be Dodem. Dodem is clan. Dodemwak is clans. Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, and then Dodem is just clan, like it's a singular. So the clans that are listed on the flag behind me, we have the Kingfisher, which is Ogashmanzi. Ogashmanzi. We have the Loon, which is Mong. We have Beaver, which is Amik. Caribou, which is a tick or a dick, however you want to say it. Rattlesnake is Jishigwe. Minwatch, porcupine is Gog, or some people say Cog with a K instead. So we're gonna go around, just quickly, we'll go through everybody. Kwekwe, Stephanie. We'll just go through everybody quickly. So we'll go to Robert, if you want to, we'll start with Kingfisher, Ogashmanzi.
Ogashmanzi.
Miigwech, we'll go to Alin, Mong for loon, Mong.
Mong.
And
Mong.
Sherry, Miigwech. Sherry will say Amik for beaver.
Amik.
And Tracy, caribou, a tick.
A tick.
Miigwech. And Caitlin, Jishigwe is rattlesnake.
Jishigwe.
And Stephanie, let's see what's under, oh, porcupine is Gog or Cog.
Dog.
Thank you. And Heidi, we'll go back up to Kingfisher, Ogashmanzi.
Ogashmanzi.
Very good. All right. Okay, so we can scroll up. So when I'm planning, I really try to consider words that are going to be common for us to use in our daily life, in our daily lives. And definitely two of the most common phrases is going to be kwekwe, and then it's going to be like hello, and then it's how are you doing? You know, that's something you say walking down the road or running into anybody, you know, on the street or at work or wherever. Kwekwe and how are you? So the common phrase around here, which we would hear and still hear, is Andi Eja Bamadzian. Andi Eja Bamadzian. How are you? How are you living? So again, some common phrases. I changed them from last week because I wanted to share a few different ones. But I left Nimino B'madis because that's the most common response you're going to hear or you're going to give. And it's that I'm living well, or really I'm fine. Like I'm doing fine, I'm good. You know, we would normally say those things when someone asks, how you doing? We would normally say, I'm good. And that would be Nimino B'madis. So we're going to start with those two first. So we're going to go to Robert, and I'm going to ask Robert, Andi Eja B'madzian, and all you're going to do is answer Nimino B'madis. So Robert, Andi Eja B'madzian.
Nimino B'madis.
Very good. Now, Robert, you're going to ask Alin, Andi Eja B'madzian.
Andi Eji B'madzian.
Okay, so Alin,
B'madinus.
Miigwech. And now, Alin, you're going to ask Sherry, Andi Eja B'madzian.
Adi Eji B'madzian.
Great.
Nimino B'madis.
So Sherry's going to ask Tracy, Andi Eja B'madzian.
Andi Eja B'madzian.
Namino Bamadis.
Miigwech. And Tracy's going to ask Caitlin. Andi Eja Bamadzian.
Andi Bamadzuyan.
Great.
Namino Bamadis.
Right on. And Caitlin, if you can ask Stephanie.
Stephanie, Ande Ejabamadzian.
Mino Modis.
And Stephanie, you can ask Heidi.
Heidi Bamadzian.
Namino Bamades.
Yeah, and Heidi's going to ask me.
Patsy, Andi Bamadzian.
And I'm going to say Ngishpo, because I just had supper. Ngishpo means I'm full. But I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Very good. So, and I'll tell you, when Mary was here, or, John and I, when we see people who we know Anishnaabemowin, we will say this at the store or on the road, or, wherever we're meeting, Andi Ejabamadzian. And, that person will answer back, Nimino Bamadis or whatever. So we use that, like we still use that. It's still a common phrase that you can put out there. you can use this and people know what you're talking about. But we're not always living well. But usually when we're asked that, we usually don't get into our ailments and our whatevers. But, sometimes we might want to give a more honest answer. Like I said, Ngishpo, because I'm full, like I just had supper. And so a couple of other feeling words of how we're feeling is Ndakwis. Ndakwis means I am sick. Ndakwis. And Ngittim means I am lazy. Now, I don't know if you want to be that honest when people ask you, but somebody might want to be. Plus, it's kind of like at school when we're teaching, the kids really like to say they're lazy. So they really like saying Ngittim. And it's a simple one to say. So I'm going to ask each of you a phrase. Now, if you want to use a phrase from last session, feel free to throw that one in there at us. So I'm going to go back to Robert. Andi Ejabamadzian, Robert.
Get Tim.
Okay, Alin.
Uh,
Andi Ejabamadzian.
Get them.
Okay, and Sherry. Andi Ejabamadzian.
Nui Naba.
And we Naba. And what does that mean?
I want to sleep.
Tracy, Andi Ejabamadzian.
Namino Bamadis.
Namino Bamadis. And Caitlin, Andi Ejabamadzian.
Gittim.
Get Tim. Stephanie, Gindash, Andi Ejabamadzian. Oh, you're on mute. You're laughing, but we couldn't hear you.
I don't know why that didn't work. Mino Bamadis.
Very good. And Heidi, Andi Ejabamadzian.
I'm not, but I'm going to use this for practice. Ndakwat.
Ndakwis?
Ndakwis.
Ndakwis. Very good. Now, that was great, everybody. Now, just so you notice, each of those answers are starting with an N. Just to note, the word for I or me is neen, N-I-I-N, neen. Now, because we're answering about ourselves, we're talking about me or I. The N added to each of these words is signifying I. It's signifying me, it's signifying I, except we're not adding the whole word for me or I, which is mean. We're just adding the N at the beginning. So just something to make note of, that the N, that letter alone is signifying I am living well, I am sick, or whatever you want to say. Okay. So just so you know that, and there's the one for I am sick. it gets a little trickier. It's actually the NDA, nda, that is signifying the I, and the aquus is the sick part. So just so you know, thanks Heidi for chiming in there as I go along. So just so you know, there's a few letters at the beginning that are signifying what exactly, breaking it up into what it all means. Okay, very good. So we can move on. So let's move on. What do I have after that? The weather. The next common phrases that we're going to hear anytime we go out and we run into people and either don't know what to say or you know, you don't have too much time or something, it's about the weather. And so we introduce ourselves, we ask how you're doing, Anishnaabemowin. Next thing that's going to come out is, what's the weather? What's it like outside? Or all those sorts of things that, you know, we say about the weather. So the question for asking about the weather is, you're asking, what is going on outside? Or what is it like outside? And the word for outside, just so you know, in this question is gojing. Gojing is outside. And then the Andi Ejaway Buck is the what's going on or what is it like outside. So the question, the whole question is Andi Ejaway Buck Gojing. Excuse me. So we're going to start with that. Excuse me. Now, last week we had a few different answers. This week we're talking about answering if it's cloudy, nagokwan, windy, nodin. Some people say it nodin, some people say nudin, depends where you are, how you learned, how you want to say it. But it's certainly understandable either way, nodin. And cold is ksina. That's being cold outside, right? Like the weather is cold. So we're going to go to Robert, and I'm going to ask him, Andi Ejaway Bakwajing, and if you could just pick one of these answers, or if you have a different answer from last session or another one of your own. Robert, Andi Ejaway Bakwajing.
Kisana.
Yeah, Kasina.
Oh, Kisina. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then you're going to ask Alin, Andi Ejaway Bakwajing.
Andi Asia Webak Gojing.
Nodin.
So Alin, you're going to ask Sherry, Andi Eje Weibak Gojing.
Andi Eji Webak Gojing.
Right on.
Nodin.
Yep.
No.
And Sherry, you're going to ask Tracy, Andi Eje Weibak Gojing.
Andi Eji Wibak Gojing.
And if Tracy, if you wanted to pick one of the answers.
Okay, Nodin.
Nodin. So Tracy's going to ask Stephanie, Andi Eje Weibak Gojing.
Andi Asia way back Gojing.
Nodin.
Yep, very good. And Caitlin, Stephanie, you're going to ask Caitlin, Andi Ejewe Bakwajing.
Ande Ejewe, Caitlin, Ande Ejewe Bakajing.
Nagokwan.
Right on. Miigwech Caitlin, and you're going to ask Heidi.
Heidi, Ande Ejaway Bakojing.
Nagokwan.
And Heidi's going to ask me.
Andi Ashu Wabak Gojing.
Yeah. Kasina, which is cold, which it's not cold. I just said that. Anyways, very good. So I'm just going to get you now. You can repeat with your mute on if you want. You can stay muted or you could unmute. And we're going to say these ones over together. Nagokwan. Nagokwan for cloudy. Nagokwan. Windy. Nodin. So you can say Nodin. And cold is Kisina. Kisina. That's for cold. Very good. Okay, so now we're gonna back up a little bit, and we're actually going to put this together as though we're meeting somebody. So I'm going to go to Sherry. So Sherry, I'm going to introduce myself to you. I'm gonna ask you, how are you doing? And then I'm gonna ask you what the weather is. Right on? Okay, then Sherry's going to do the same thing to somebody else. So Kwekwe, Sherry, Patsy and Dishnakaz, Makomanising Dunjaba, Migazin Dodem, Andi Eshabamadzi Sherry.
Nigitim.
Oh, get him. Andi Eshawe Bakwajing.
Nagakwin.
Oh, Miigwech. Okay, so Sherry, now you're going to say that to Alin. You're going to
Okay.
start from the beginning.
Kwekwe, Sherry and Dishnakaz. New Brunswick, Indujaba, Ndunjaba.
Mm-hmm.
Mang and Zishigwe Ndodum.
Mm-hmm.
Andi Ejir Bimadzian.
Uh, um, uh, Nemo
Nimino.
Nimino Bamadas.
Mhm.
Nimino Bamadas.
Right on.
And then do I do another one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sherry, you're going to say Andi, and I know Heidi's probably trying to let somebody in at the same time. Andi Eshawe Bakwajing.
Andi Ejir Wabakujing.
Nodin.
And then you can just say, oh, okay, Miigwech.
Oh, Miigwech.
Kind of wraps up a little conversation. Lynn, you're going to say that to Tracy. You're going to start from the beginning. All right.
Okay. So, Alin.
Kwekwe,
Oh, Kwekwe.
Dishnakaz. Yep.
What? Or do I go Alin Dishnakaz?
Yeah, Alin
Oh, okay.
Dishnakaz.
Kwekwe, Alin Dishnakaz, Makomanissin Nomjaba.
Uh-huh.
No,
And you could say
Dodam.
Wabjishi Dodam, or you could say, you know, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay. Let's just go Cog Dodam.
Okay. And then, so then you're going to ask Tracy Andi Eshawe Bak. Oh, no, sorry. Andi Eshabamadzian.
Tracy, Andieji Bamadsinin.
Yep.
Namino Bamadas.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah.
Andieze Wabak Gojin.
Yep.
Kisina.
Right on.
Oh.
So then we're going to go to Tracy.
Get a sweater.
If Tracy could ask Caitlin.
Kwekwe,
Or-
Tracy, Dishnakaz, Makomanising Dunjaba, Nabane Gwene Dodam. Andi Aji Bamadzian.
Mino Bamadis Miigwech.
Oh. Andi Aji Wabak Gojing.
Kisana.
Oh, Miigwech.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Yeah, Bamapi. Good. Yeah. Okay, Caitlin, you're going to ask either Heidi or Stephanie. Let's
Okay.
pick on Stephanie.
Okay. Kwekwe, Stephanie. Caitlin Morrison and Dishnakaz. Toronto and Dunjaba. Minwa Mong and Dodem. Andi Ejibamadzian.
Mino Bamadas.
Oh. And Andi Eje Webak Gojing.
Nodin.
Cool.
Yep.
Miigwech.
Uh-huh. Now, Stephanie, you're going to ask Heidi.
Kwekwe, Heidi, or do I?
Yeah,
Anyway,
Heidi.
Kwekwe, Heidi, Stephanie and Dishnakaz, Makomanising and Dunjaba, Mong and Dodam.
Yeah. Andi
Andi Aji Bamadzian.
Nimino Bumades.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Andi Ejaway
Andi
Bakujing.
Andi Asia Wibakojing.
Nagukwan.
Oh.
Wet. Wow.
Okay, now I see Miigwech, Stephanie. Heidi, I see we've got a couple of new guests here. So Heidi, do you want to do your, and you can speak, it says Tina and Lindsay. So Kwekwe, Tina, Minwatch, Lindsay. We'll see if you can follow along a little bit, and I'll help you along if you'd like, and we'll continue with what we were doing here. So Heidi, do you want to start?
Okay, Kwekwe, Heidi Ndishnikaz, Hellebury Ndunjaba, and Jishigwe Ndodum. Andi Ejibamadzi, Tina and Lindsay. Oh, they just got kicked out.
Oh my
They're
God.
coming back in though. I just admitted them back in.
We scared them away. Kwekwe, Tina and Lindsay.
Tina and Lindsay, Andi Ejibamadzi, can you unmute yourself? That means how are you?
Yeah, so we're just asking, how are you?
Ani Nejishayayen.
Yeah.
Okay, Andiej Wabakojin.
Andy Ejwebek.
Yeah, so we were just asking, what's it like outside, just to give a sample answer. You might say Nodin or Ngokwan or Ksina.
Yeah, we'll get a paper.
Oh, good.
Okay, Miigwech.
Okay, very good. All right, so I think I hit everybody. We had a turn just to kind of review our dialogue there. Now, we can move down now, Heidi, down to some other words that are some other common words. And these are some of the words I get asked, like if I'm at the daycare or at the school. And we're all, especially because I work with kids a lot, and we're always using cups and plates and forks and knives and spoons. So I just wanted to share these ones, not because they're exciting words. They're not that exciting or interesting in that way, but boy, we use these things all the time and they come up all the time. And if somebody at home wanted to label some things, these would be some great things to be labeling, just to get the flow of how to say them and use that language in the house. Now, depending where you're from, depending if you've learned Anishnaabemowin from other people, you might have another way of saying these words as well. So if I say it one way and you learned it a different way, then that's great, because then you have two ways of saying it. So, it's not about saying anything wrong or different. It's just that now you have more ways of saying it. So that's always a great thing. So for the first one, which is cup, when we're drinking something, we usually say minikwe, like to be drinking something. He or she is drinking something. So a cup is minikwe gun. It's actually a thing that you drink from. So minikwe gun. The word plate is onagan, onagan, onagan.
Onagan.
The fork is bedakigan,
Duckigan.
bedakigan.
Duckigan.
Now, interestingly about that, with the fork, there's an interesting little piece there. In Anishnaabemowin, there really isn't an H. They don't usually use the H sound, but the Temiagama Anishnaabemowin, they use an H in their language. So depending where you're from, and if you've been learning language, you might be like, hey, there's no H in that language. Yeah, there is, and these people use it here. So bidak higan. And if you're not from this area where they're using the H sound, then you're likely to hear bidak igan, bedak igan, and they're kind of leaving that H right out, but up here they pronounce the H, so you can hear it a little bit, bedak igan. For the fork, and for knife, mokman, and the spoon, mkwan. So we have minikwegan, onagan, bedakigan, mokman, mkwan. So quick, Terry. quick. So I'm gonna say them. You can stay on mute, and I want you to say these words to yourself at home, and then we're gonna call them out and I'll put you on the spot. So the first one is minikwegan. Minikwegan. So say that one at home. Minikwegan. A plate. Onagan. Onagan. The fork. Bidakigan. Bidakigan. However you want to say it. And the knife. Mokman. Mokman, and the spoon, mkwan. Mkwan. All right, so we're gonna go back to Robert, and I'm gonna call one out and put you on the spot to do your best, okay, Robert? So I'm gonna call out fork for Robert.
Bedak higan.
Okay, and we'll go to Alin, plate.
Onagan.
Sherry, spoon.
Mkwan.
To Tracy, the knife.
Mokman.
Yeah, mokman.
Mokman.
Very good. Stephanie, minikwe. Oh, sorry, cup.
Minikwegan.
And Terry, plate.
Onagan.
Tina and Lindsay, fork.
Bedakigan.
Caitlin, Caitlin, spoon.
Mkwan.
And Heidi, knife.
Mokman.
Right on. So Heidi, if you wanted to prepare my video that I sent, so that was great, and I hope you find the words that I'm choosing helpful, and you can make suggestions if there were some other more common vocabulary that you'd like to share. I mean, you'd like to hear and practice. By all means, this is just me trying to pick some common words based on what we use at home for John and I, and what I use when I go to work at the daycare, or if I'm at the school, or using with our own kids. These are really common phrases, and I just think that's a really good place to start. And now what I have here is Nagumwin. Nagumwin is a song, and you know, learning language isn't just about trying to work through the words. Music is language, and learning language through music, what a great way. And I know some of you drum and sing, and it's a great way to hear and feel Anishnaabemowin. So when I'm teaching, I usually like to try and include music in a song. So tonight I'm not singing, and you're welcome. So, but this video is a friend of ours and a cousin, Roger Asinaway. He's sharing a song, but he's sharing this when they were starting to find the unmarked graves of the children. And what I like to say about that is we feel bad, we're angry, we're hurt, and it makes us mad to learn about this and everything that went on in the lives of these kids many years ago, and to people in our own family. And there isn't much we can do, but we want to do something. You know, we want to do something with our anger and our our compassion and everything. And one of the best ways I like to say to do something is to use your language. Use your language, because we're still here. Our Anishnaabemowin is still here. And that's one positive way to deal with our grief. So Roger's going to sing a traveling song for the children, and I hope you enjoy it. And then we'll wrap up after that. Miigwech. Very good. We're going to end there. Miigwech Gibajayik Onakshig. Thank you all for coming this evening. If you had any suggestions, maybe you could email Heidi or myself, and we could include some other language and words and vocabulary that you would find most valuable. But just to say again how I started many years ago, I had asked Mary Cat about use it or lose it. And she helped me translate that to Abjiton min, Jiu Nito Swan, Anishnaabemowin. Use your language or you lose it. And that's my message with the teaching, the little bit that I know. And I hope that it was interesting and valuable to you. Miigwech. We're good?
Wait, Patsy, I just had a question.
Yes. Any homework?
I just I was gonna write it down. I'm not sure if the spelling. I wanted to ask for my mom because I wanted her to try and sing it. Not the birthday song, but how would you say happy birthday?
Okay.
Because this
I can write it to you as well so that you can
that would be
spell
awesome. Yeah.
But you can sing happy birthday too, right?
That'd be
Minot,
cool.
Minot de Bishkan. Some people
Minot.
say Minot de Bishkam. Some people say Minot de Bishka. I've said Minot de Bishkan with an N at the end. Minot de Bishkan, Michelle, Minot de Bishkan. Oh, your mom's not Michelle. Your mom's Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Get your mom's name
yeah,
right.
my family's pretty awful at singing happy birthday songs, and I want to see them sing it in Ojibwe too.
Okay. So really, you're just saying Minot de Bishkan over and over. Minot de Bishkan, Christine.
Okay.
Minot de Bishkan, Christine. Minot de Bishkan, Minot de Bishkan, Minot de Bishkan, Christine. So that's really the only word you need in there. And then you
Awesome.
just add the person's name. But did you want me
love
to
that.
send you the spelling? Or you got it down
Sure.
all right?
I think I have it, but I
Okay.
just want so I could spell it.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. Miigwech, Tina and Lindsay. No homework. Okay, Tracy, can you forward I don't see you on Facebook, Tracy. So if you want to forward me an email, I'll spell it instead of singing. Oh yes,
Everybody, the prayer and the the agenda from tonight too
is on the TFN site, right? Yeah. So will there be more sessions? These are great. Yes, there will be more sessions. Patsy's on holidays myself, but I think we can do another session because I'm taking a trip, but I can probably do one session in 2 weeks again, Heidi, if Heidi's not on holidays, because she's a big part of making these sessions flow. So how about in another 2 weeks? I think Sherry asked that, so
that should be good. Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be great. Thank you. And I just sent you another question there for next session.
Okay, and Tracy, if you don't mind to send your email, because you asked about wanting those words too, that would be fine. Yeah. And Heidi says, can you email the lessons? If you go, Heidi mentioned earlier, if you go to the TFN website, there's a Anishnaabemowin link, right, Heidi? And
There
they
is.
could find that you could find the agendas and these recorded. There's only 2, but the recorded sessions as well.
Yeah, the recordings take me a little bit to upload, but I'll go ahead and send the lesson right now while I have everybody's name.
Okay.
So you'll get it tonight.
Okay.
Just by email.
Okay,
and then
that's good.
Back for the recording if you want to learn about pronunciation and whatnot.
Okay. Very good. So I am going to I'll do that now. The words for there it is. Okay, I see Tina and Lindsay's email. I didn't see Tracy's email, but I'll do that right now. All right, I'll send that out. Other than that, Miigwech Gibajayik, Gawabmin Minawach is see you later. Gawabmin Minawach.